Welcome to the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustees meeting for August 19th. The meeting is called to order at 6:30. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Jan Gaffney.
Here.
Tim Holcomb.
Here.
Allison McFadden-Kiesling.
Here.
Nancy Moon.
Here.
Alan Panter.
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Here.
Maggie Sands absent. Julie Meredith here.
Thank you. I'll accept a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion
Aye.
is carried. We have a call to the public. Tonight, the public is out celebrating the end of summer.
Yes. No public.
Feels like it. Our consent agenda has quite a number of items on it. I'll accept a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Does anyone have any questions about any item? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is accepted.
That's our friend.
Friends of the Library report.
Is it up to me already?
Yes, perfect timing.
I'm waiting for my associate to come and he hasn't made it. Well, we were working on our book sale. We have the Sign Up Genius out, and it's about 80% filled up.
Wow.
And that's in September 22nd is the, when the book sale starts. And I have a young man that is our newest Friends member. His name is Ethan Connolly. I don't know, something may have happened because he was supposed to meet me for tonight, but he joined the board. He is our student
Representative.
member.
Good.
And for the next year, he's shadowing me, but he's going to take a turn, and all of the officers are going to be working with him.
Mentoring.
For a couple weeks, mentoring him.
Okay.
Yes. He got stuck with me first.
I think that's not a bad idea. All right. So that's actually pretty early to have so many signups. That's good.
Yeah, I was surprised.
All
Yes.
right.
And I
Excellent.
think it's gonna go really well.
Very good. How about library statistics?
Okay, Mr. Bowman has provided our statistics this evening. This will be the July traffic, so you'll see the monthly circulations are up to 28,789. Per person, that's a little over 2.5 books. Programs, obviously, we have a lot of participation in the summer because we have a lot of programs going on. He's going to work on doing comparative numbers because that was one of the things you asked for, but he hasn't gotten to that part of it yet. So this is looking sort of like last month's, so in terms of how it's set up. Any questions about statistics?
I think the number of adult participants is terrific.
Yeah. We had a lot of people participating in all of our programs, and they've been adding a lot of different things.
I love to see all the signs on Main Street. I love my library. I love that. Okay, library director's report.
Okay, so we are now in the dream phase of our strategic planning process. The retreats with Amanda Standerfer, our consultant from Fast Forward Libraries, will take place in October. Amanda will share all that we have learned from our internal capacity survey and community survey. From this report, we will discuss ideas for projects we want to do going forward. The board will have their strategic plan retreat on Wednesday, October 23rd from 5 to 8 p.m. The library staff retreats will take place on Thursday, October 24th in multiple sessions to accommodate as many people as possible. Amanda and her team will then compile all of this discussion and meet with the strategic plan team to create a final outline. From that outline, the Fast Forward Libraries team will provide strategic plan documents, including an implementation guide to be presented to the board. So we are moving right along on this project.
Good.
In regards to the possible EV charging station project, Nancy and I have a meeting scheduled with Bob Blackshear, our DTE representative on this project, and Jeremy Zinn, who is our electrician, on October 21st to discuss the options and costs for powering an EV charging station in the library's parking lot. In terms of funding, there is a federal grant for projects of $500,000 or more, which is far more than we would need. However, the state of Michigan is in the process of submitting an application to secure a portion of that funding in order to provide small sub-grants for organizations like us that need less than $50,000 to install EV charging. I was able to provide Michigan's Director of Mobility Policy, Shafiq Bari, a summary of our project plan as it currently stands, to assist the state in demonstrating need as a part of their application. Mr. Bari also asked me to reach out to him after we have our August 21st meeting with DTE because he feels that he may have other funding avenues available to assist us depending on the estimated cost of our project.
Excellent.
So we're making some progress.
That's good.
It's still a process. The library has received our 2024 penal fine check in the amount of $51,667.94. For budgeting purposes, we conservatively estimated we would receive $45,000 this year. Our 2023 penal fine check was in the amount of $50,454, so it's up a little bit. This one has a kind of a range to it. It has been, in my tenure here, it has been as much as $72,000 and as little as like $41,000. And it kind of goes up slowly and down slowly depending on how the economy is doing and depending on how many court cases there are and traffic tickets and all that sort of thing. So, but we always budget conservatively to assure that we don't spend more than we're going to get for that. In July, I was part of the peer review committee that made recommendations for the awarding of the Library of Michigan Improving Access to Information Grants for 2024 to the state librarian, Randy Riley. It has been announced that the 12 library projects we recommended, totaling $234,205, have been awarded their grant requests. This is a very interesting and rewarding project that I find enjoyable and so educational, and congratulations to those winning libraries. The library's summer reading finale took place on Saturday, August 17th from 1 to 3 p.m. While the weather was not quite as perfect as we would have hoped, it was a huge success with lots of happy families. This morning we received the biggest compliment on our summer of hard work in the form of a thank you email from a grateful parent. And I quote, "I wanted to take a moment and thank you for putting on the SRP. Our son is 10, and at the beginning of the summer, he was reading graphic novels, not really interested in much more. But because of the SRP, by the end of the summer, he started reading Percy Jackson novels. And I don't know if you know Percy Jackson, but it's a little like Harry Potter. Those are not little short books. They're pretty good-sized books. That was a huge jump for him. Never would we have ever thought he'd read 100 hours in 2 months. This worked. Keep it up, CIDL." So,
Good.
yay! Yes.
Wow.
So my compliments to our hardworking staff who made this so much fun for the kids and kept them reading all summer long.
It was fabulous program.
Excellent.
Yeah.
On that happy note, let's hit regular business.
Okay.
The first one is our hotspot policy.
Okay, Chris, let's hear it.
Good evening, everyone. So basically, last month, you approved a hotspot policy where we restricted borrowing to only our residents. And then it occurred to me that Springfield might be a special case, so I went and I checked their catalog for hotspots, and they don't have any. So I thought, well, maybe that's not the fairest thing to do. Give them time to catch up and get some hotspots in their catalog. So what I am proposing is that we make an exception until they are able to launch their circulating hotspots for their own library. Once that has actually taken place, then the exception would expire and our hotspot policy would be fully implemented and only our patrons would be able to borrow them.
Are they in the process of trying to get hotspots now?
They've told us that they are, yes. We don't have a timeline, but we're hoping end of the year at least.
I gave their director a call and said, okay, so we were going to restrict your patrons from using our hotspots, and then we realized you don't have hotspots. are you in the process of doing that? She said, well, we were working on it, but we kind of set it aside over the summer. And I said, well, you don't want your patrons mad at you, and I don't want your patrons mad at me, so how long do you think it's going to be? And she said, well, if you'll send us who it is you're working with and your hotspot policy and information on how you've been doing this, we will get right on it. So we have provided her all of that information, and they're working on it. So I think this is probably a good way to just to help them along a little bit. So that they can,
Well, you never want to reinvent the wheel.
no, no.
And so we've already got the wheel in motion, so let's share. Okay, sounds good.
Well, they're a neighboring library. I think we should help them out.
Well, and as the school year is starting, this seemed like a really bad time to say, hey, you can't use our hotspots. Just-
Yeah, because we have been allowing that to happen.
We have been allowing that to
Yeah,
happen, yes. Yes, and we didn't realize that they didn't have them. We were thinking that they did, and Chris looked it up in the catalog and realized that their patrons were either borrowing them from us or from other neighboring libraries. And so that's when I called the director and said, oh, and she said, well, we've been working on it, but summer came and we kind of set it off to the side, so.
Well, that can happen.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
good encouragement.
Yeah.
In that case, I will accept a motion.
I make a motion to approve the hotspot policy, Springfield Township Library temporary exception as presented.
I'll second.
And I want to thank Chris for bringing it to our attention.
And it's been moved and seconded that we amend our hotspot policy while Springfield gets up to date. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. And thank you for checking on that.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, he and I talked about it and decided that if we put it as a rider, it can just expire and then we won't have to come back and have you rewrite the policy, so yeah, I thought that would make more sense.
Excellent. Okay. Aha. Second quarter financial report.
Okay, so I have the financial report in your packet. And so what I've done is gone through and kind of highlighted things, thank you, Chris, that are, obviously the first column is January through June, the expenditures. The middle column is what is budgeted for 50% of the year. And then that last column would be what is over budget. And so the things that you're looking for, it's a little, for those of us who work with straight numbers, it's a little counterintuitive. The negative numbers are good, and the positive numbers mean that's where we're over budget. So what you're looking at, if you look on page 2, the first one that I would call your attention to is health insurance. That one, we're a little over budget. We had a staffing change, and I think that now that going forward, that will correct itself. So that one I'm not worried about. Workers' comp is another one that is a positive number that would indicate we are over budget. That is one of those things that's not billed on a monthly basis. It isn't paid evenly throughout the year. We have to have it completely paid off. It's a quarterly thing, so we have to have it completely paid off like 3 quarters into the year. So obviously, we're not really over budget for that one. Hopping down to downloadables, that looks like it's way over budget. But the reason that that's so high is because our Overdrive service has an annual fee that comes early in the year.
Okay.
And so we pay a big chunk of it all at once. And then the rest of it is paid in smaller portions as we buy additional things for the collection. So, audiovisual materials, anything that's collection related is very uneven depending on how the librarians are purchasing, depending on when things are produced or published. So I don't worry about things in those lines being over budget until we get close to the end of the year and it looks like they're not going to balance out. It's really actually pretty common for our librarians to spend a lot of money right before the summer starts, so that we have lots of new things in the collection as we get busy for the summer months. And then it kind of dies back during the summer because they don't have as much time because they're busy producing all those programs and things like that. And then it picks back up again in, say, September, October. So I'm not worried about those. Audit fees, that's one that we paid the whole thing. So it's not over budget at all. It just looks like it is for the 6-month mark. Merchant fees, that's another one that we need to account for separately, like at the end of the year. It's not a budgeted item per se.
What are the merchant fees for?
I think what these are her bank fees. I think it used to be called bank fees.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
looks like.
Yeah,
That makes more sense.
yeah.
Yeah, because I was kind of wondering too, but.
Mhm. I think she used to call it bank fees, and when it got put into QuickBooks, it was called merchant fees. I think that's what it defaults to, so. Insurance is another one that we have to pay in full before the end of the year, so that doesn't get paid evenly through the year. The telephone bill, we all know, is a problem right now. We're still waiting, no update from Windstream, so we'll balance that out when we hear from them, but they should be theoretically owing us, I think, but we'll see. They don't think so, but we do. For special events, that's another thing that a lot of money gets spent in May and June in order to produce that great big event that we do from June, July, and August. And then it rolls back again. The June, July, and August are our 3 busiest months of the year and our 3 biggest programming months as well. So September and October, you won't see nearly as much, and it all kinds of balances out. The Friends line I do want to talk about a little bit. So the Friends line is something that we put in place. The Friends fund quite a lot of what we do in the summertime, all of the prizes. They pay for a lot of the programming and things that we do. That is not technically a budgeted item. So what we do is when we purchase anything from the Friends or purchase it on behalf of the Friends, the library pays for it up front and the Friends reimburse us. We put it all in one line item, and that way we know what's being reimbursed. And so this is one that our accountant will balance out separately as those items get put into the system. So they have paid out, we have paid in advance for $10,000 worth of items that they will then reimburse us for, and you will see that number by the end of the year should be 0, should balance out completely. But this is the first time we're doing it, and we're still getting our feet under us in terms of how best to report it. Printing and publishing, I did talk to Sissy about that one. It looks like it's over budget, but that's because we do a lot of work at the beginning of in May, April and May for June, July, and August.
Right.
So she does a lot of production of extra postcards and things like that, and so it looks like it's over budget, and then when we get after summer reading, it backs down and she doesn't have as much. The one line item that I do want to talk about that Sissy asked me to request, she has done a lot more in terms of promotion and materials in direct regards to the strategic planning process. And it did not occur to her or I that we should budget additional funds for that project in terms of those PR materials. She has requested that we put $10,000 in 801 to assure that she will not go over budget by the end of the year. So I do have a request for $10,000 from fund balance into 801 to assure that, but in November we'll be looking at that, and I will see if we are able to cover it in other places, and that money would go back into fund balance. So, any questions about any of that?
So 801, which says professional and contract services.
Professional and contract services,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
I'll accept a motion.
I move that we transfer $10,000 from the fund balance to line item 801 for graphic design.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we move $10,000 from our fund balance into 801 graphic design to cover our expenses for the rest of the year. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Okay, number 4, resolution regarding regular meetings.
Oh, I think we're doing the budget approval plan. Budget approval plans
Yeah,
first.
the budget approval
Oh,
plan.
that's right. Checked off, I'm ahead of myself.
I'm like reading that going, what?
Yes, the budget approval plan.
Okay. There are a number of elements that go into the preparation of the library's annual budget. The legal requirements involve a public hearing and an approval of the millage rate, which must take place before September 30th, and a public hearing and the approval of the budget itself must take place before December 31st. Often the library holds both public hearings in September, and the library board approves the budget at the September board meeting. However, elements such as health insurance premiums and this year's strategic planning retreats will provide valuable budget information in October. The library director will propose adjusting the budget approval timeline this year to incorporate these elements that will not be available until October. So what I've given you is kind of a preparation timeline and the way I put things together. So I meet with the staffing committee and we go over all of the wage data. We do a capital improvement plan committee meeting. The staff prepares the draft budget, which we've been working on all along. That's kind of a continuing process that we do year-round. We do a budget workshop just before we do the public hearing, usually a few weeks before. We do a public hearing on the millage rate. We do a public hearing on the budget, and then the board approves the budget. As I said, we usually do those. The attorney likes it when we do the millage rate and the budget in September together because she likes it to be one tidy resolution. But we have in the past done the millage rate in September and the budget in November or December. This is not uncommon. Many libraries do this because there are certain pieces that don't come till later. Last year we got burned by doing our budget in September because the health insurance rates came in and they were much higher than what we expected. I'd like to not do that again if we can, since they're a little unpredictable at this point. And I would like to have a little more knowledge from our strategic planning committee about what's in that learning report. Because if we want to put aside big chunks of money to do some specific major projects, I just don't feel like we're ready to make those decisions, and I don't want to rewrite the budget after you've approved it. So I guess my question to you, the library board meetings that we have are September 16th, October 14th, November 11th, and December 16th. What we do in terms of finalizing the budget for 2023, on December 16th, we will do a year-to-date November 30th budget, and we will do final budget adjustments to close out 2023 to make sure everything is nice and tidy and balanced before we get to that December 31st date. That's not a huge deal, but that is something that we do in December. In terms of approving the budget, we could approve it in November, if you like, or we could put it on December. It is kind of the 11th hour doing it in December, but it depends on the pleasure of the board in this regard. I would be okay with either one of those.
Some of that hinges on when we get the health
The health insurance
data.
premiums come in October. It usually comes about 2.5 weeks after you approve the budget. At least that's what happened last year.
Now, in my reading recently, they're expecting huge health rate increase requests
Happened last
for
year.
next year.
Yeah.
So,
Which is one of the reasons I'm a little bit nervous about trying to get it done in September.
so we can approve the millage rate in September.
Yes.
And then perhaps do the budget in November.
Yeah, I may not be able to make the December meeting.
So maybe November would be
November
best.
11th,
November, I think December does feel like cutting it
A little
Yeah.
close.
really
It
close.
does to me too.
If there was any discussion and somebody didn't want to approve it, then,
Not much leeway, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's never happened, I know, but,
You never
but
know.
it can happen.
It can happen.
So I feel like November is better to
Agreed.
shoot for, and that should still give us, because a lot of the legwork in terms of, like even the personnel costs, the staffing committee we can meet and do all of that and just plug
Absolutely.
in the healthcare costs once they come.
Yep.
I feel like we can do it by
Good.
November.
I
don't
think
see
so,
it.
too.
And the millage rate is set. We're not, there's no changes there,
There's
so.
no reason to change it, nope.
And we can always push it back if in November we're not ready. We can always say, well, then we're going to do it in December. But like you said, if we do it in December, there's no pushing back.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Then it's
I would
like, oh,
agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds like we're in agreement.
Yeah.
Millage, September, budget, November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the resolution establishing our.
There we go.
No. Our
Well,
dates.
Do we have a date, I'm sorry, do we have a date for the budget workshop?
We don't, but we could set one if you like, or we could maybe wait and set it next month when we kind of know a little bit more about when those numbers are going to come in. We could set it now if you like, though, while we're setting other dates.
No, if you think there's information that's gonna maybe change that we don't have yet, then I'm fine with leaving it be for now. I was just wondering if I had missed something.
Yeah, we normally have done it
August, right?
in the
Yeah.
end of August or
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
September, but we could do it in later October?
So you've got your strategic plan board retreat on the 23rd from 5 to 8. I hate to fill you up with too many meetings too close together, too.
Me too.
Well, right, and that's kind of where I was going. is
Yep,
that It seems like we have
I agree.
several things stacked up in early October.
I agree. That's a good
And then we're
point.
going to approve the budget November 11th. So it sounds like a lot of dominoes have to fall.
It does.
Just
I would
right.
agree with that. My only worry is I'm not sure exactly, the person who was in charge of our health insurance premium information last year retired, and there's new people there, and I don't know how good they're going to be about, I mean, when I call them, how good they're going to be about pulling what I need in a timely enough fashion. We'll see. I'm sure they're very good, but I don't know that they're experienced in terms of pulling that data together for me, so.
Maybe we need to talk to them and tell them why we would like it ASAP.
Well, I have told them that part, and she
Okay.
said, "Yep, reach out to me in September and let me know, and we'll start figuring out how to get that information pulled together
Okay.
for you." So she knows she needs to do it, but I don't know. Her predecessor had been there for 20 years and was very good at like knowing exactly who to talk to get those numbers a little more quickly than. Basically, she would call them and say, "I've got a governmental entity writing a budget who needs this like yesterday." And so she would try to get them as quickly as she could.
He retired. I wonder if he's still available for consultation.
I know, yeah, I wish she would be, but I don't think she
should
is.
set the date
so.
then.
In terms of setting a date, though, we could do,
Want to move into November?
Yeah, but if we move it to November and the meeting's on November 11th, it doesn't give you much time.
well, essentially, the budget workshop can be, it's an opportunity for the board to roll up your sleeves and really dig in and ask questions. And all I need from that point is, if you see anything, it gives me at least a few days to make adjustments before we go into the actual approval process on the 11th. So it could be the last week of October, it could be that first full week of November, potentially.
We got to remember, we have elections on the 5th of
Yep.
November.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then we're meeting on the 11th.
And the meeting's on the 11th,
Yeah.
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 So we could do October 30th, the day before Halloween. I have to be at home on Halloween because I have a lot of trick-or-treaters, but, you know. I mean, that would give you, you know,
Do you like a particular night of the week?
Have we done it before on Mondays?
We've done it a variety of days. When it comes to the workshop, you can kind of do it whenever you want. It can be day, it can be evening, it can be, because it's not it gets posted as a meeting, but because it's being posted as a special meeting, it can be any time you like to have it.
But since we have people that are employed.
Right,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that we
Yeah.
have done it any time
Yeah.
of the day, so
Oh, I see.
there's no precedence
What about Monday the 28th?
necessarily.
Monday the 28th?
You like Monday the 28th?
Yeah.
Monday the 28th.
What time?
6:30?
Let me double check and make sure we got a room.
Not to be funny, it was October 28th.
Yes, October 28th,
Right.
6:30.
Because we said the 28th, you know.
Correct, yes. Month measures.
Let's be specific.
Now, Julie, is there a room available then?
There is, we can have the conference room, which I usually put us in one of the littler
Okay,
rooms. So,
conference
yep.
room, okay.
Okay, so let's do the budget workshop. Monday, October 28th. What time did you say you wanted?
6:30?
6:30? Same time,
how long is it
6:30?
going to run? How long you sure?
It depends on how many questions you ask.
Yeah, one time I think it ran like 2 or 3 hours.
Sometimes,
or-
well, it also depends on how experienced the board is as
Yeah.
well, and you're all experienced at this point, so.
Or if you want to do earlier, I don't have any.
I was going to say, if
objection,
it's going to go on 2 or 3 hours,
Yeah,
maybe we should
you want
start
maybe
a little
start a little
but
earlier?
What about 6?
You want to start at 6? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
I doubt Maggie's available much before 5:30.
No, probably
Well,
she's not.
I mean,
but-
this is a super busy time of year for me, so, I mean, I'm just going to have to put it on the calendar and plan around it.
Okay,
And, I mean, my
Okay.
expectation would be that others would do the same.
okay, so
Okay.
you want 6
All right.
o'clock?
Okay.
I can
Well, let's
make my
try
3 a
6,
0.
and if we look at some things and have questions, maybe we can get some of them answered before we actually sit down.
Yeah. Yep. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so
sounds good.
6 o'clock on Monday, the 28th of October.
And that gives me the time from after the 2 retreats to kind of plug in some of those details and be prepared for them, so I think that's
We'll
good.
give you 5 days.
That's okay.
And the staff retreat is the 24th, so
That's okay.
you might have, 4 days.
Well, most of it'll be done by then. It's just a matter of moving around some of the bigger chunks of money, so. Okay. So I will schedule the conference room for that. Okay, so then working on the board meetings for 2025.
Ah, time flies.
I know. Put these on the calendar before, you still have rooms to meet in, right?
13th, Monday?
Do we still like
Are we doing
Mondays?
Mondays still? Monday work for everybody?
Monday works for
Do
me.
we still like Mondays? Do we still like
Gotten into a groove.
Do we still like 6:30?
Is 6 better or 6:30? I don't know. Is 6:30 better for you folks? Which is
That
better?
seems to work well, yeah.
6:30 still okay?
January
Monday,
13th,
6:30
6:30, okay?
6:30.
6:30 all the way. Got it.
Okay, so starting and we usually try to strike them into about the middle of the month.
Right.
Yeah.
For January, let's
January 13th, you said?
see.
Yeah. I just threw it out because it was the middle of the month. That's exactly what I thought.
Well, and the 20th is Martin Luther King Day, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
you're not going to do that day.
You're not going to do that day.
Yeah, the 13th looks good. The 6th, there's already something scheduled in the room, so.
And we
do
don't have
like-
to be sworn in, we're all
No?
already sworn in.
Yeah.
So you like January 13th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, let's go into February. February
10th.
3rd, the 10th, the 17th.
17th is President's Day.
Or the 24th are the Mondays.
I'm out of town on the 10th.
We are actually, even though it's President's Day, we are actually open.
Oh,
So we changed our holiday schedule, so now we're open that day, but that's just up to you if you would like to do it on that day or not do it on that day.
I can do it that day.
I can do the 17th.
Since none of us are
yeah, I don't,
presidents.
yeah, it doesn't- I'm not doing anything that day.
Okay. All
Coming
right, so
home
February
together,
17th. Okay, so then in March.
10th? March 10th?
let's see.
March 10th, okay?
Things that we have here. I don't see anything else that's a conflict. So I heard the 10th, we like March
Yeah,
10th?
10th works.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's only 3 weeks after our previous meeting, is that?
I don't think it has to be exact because we kind of want to stick with the middle if we can, so it kind of ebbs and flows.
Right,
That's
so
you
it's
could-
either the 10th or the 17th.
You could do the 17th.
I can't do the 17th.
Oh, you can't do
Yeah.
the 17th.
That's why we did it.
That's why we're doing the 10th. I was trying to slip it in there.
Got it,
I
okay.
gotcha.
That's like me, I couldn't do this date, what date?
So what's our question here? March what?
March 10th, I heard. Okay, and then if we go into April, I'm gonna look really quickly for April and see.
14th looks fine. for me.
14?
Because the next week
April
you're into
14th,
Easter.
so Easter is the
Yeah.
20th,
Yep.
So the 14th sounds good.
so April 14th is okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Just make sure there's nothing on the calendar. Nope, that looks good.
May?
Look at that, the schedule's already getting loaded up.
May the let's see, the 26th is Memorial Day, and so it would be the 5th, the 12th, the 19th, and any of those are open.
19th?
May 19th?
We like the
Okay.
19th? May 19th?
I might miss that one, but that's okay.
Okay.
What was that?
It's my
Yeah.
wife's birthday, so
Oh, so you've not.
I might not make it.
Yeah.
I want to stay married.
Well, let's not risk that.
Do
Let's
you want to
not-
do the 12th then?
If the 12th is all right with everybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah,
that
I
is
can
my
do the
wife's
Okay, let's do the
Okay.
12th. We ought to
12th
save
is better.
marriage.
We
Yeah, we want your wife to be happy.
We got to keep you on the board.
Okay, so then June,
I'm dead.
the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th, the 23rd, or the 30th. Let's see, Father's Day is the
I could do June 9th, or I'm out of town the 16th and the 23rd.
You might want to go a little bit earlier anyway. We'll be doing summer reading kickoff at some point, and they usually like to put those things on a Monday night, so maybe if we do the 9th, we won't
run into that.
We won't have
Fine.
loud magicians and activities right outside the door like we've had.
Right outside the door.
So June 9th?
June 9th?
Yeah.
Let's
I
do
leave the
June 9th
next
for
day,
that.
but
Sounds good.
Okay, so then moving into July.
Yeah.
The 7th, the 14th, the 21st, or the 28th. Now, what is, okay, so but that's youth activities. I was going to say on the 14th, the Friends book sale will be July 15th. They're doing their summer book sale, but they will be in the youth activities room, not in here, so we could have this room.
So the 14th.
So if you like the 14th, if you're trying to
14th?
stay middle of the month, July 14th, sound okay?
Okay,
Yeah,
yep,
that's
Okay.
fine.
looks good.
Okay. August 4, 11, 18, or 25.
Now, when's the end of summer reading?
Well, that depends. They made it a little bit later this year, and the briefing meeting is, I think, later this week in terms of whether or not they liked that. So I don't know yet. But it will be on a Saturday, so it wouldn't affect us. The finale, or the kickoff has Monday night elements to it, but the finale is usually a Saturday, so.
I can't do the 11th. It's my birthday.
Okay, then I guess
Okay,
we'll
we
do
won't
the
do that.
18th.
The 18th.
So the 18th?
18th looks good.
We need to keep you on the board, so.
August 18th, okay. All right, September, the fall book sale will be that week of the 22nd. So that would be the 8th or the 15th, perhaps?
How about the 15th?
15?
Yeah.
That's good.
15? Okay.
Sure.
All right, October, 6, 13, 20, or 27?
13,
13?
mid-month?
13, all right.
Lucky 13?
November?
Okay, November, maybe the 10th. I don't know that you
Yeah.
want to get too close to Thanksgiving.
10 sounds great.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's do November 10. And then December 8, 15?
15?
15?
Yeah, sounds good.
Which one?
15th is fine.
December 15.
15? Okay.
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 All right, Nicole, you want to read all those back?
Yep, so
Okay.
we read on the news, let me know if any of these are incorrect. So we have January 13th, February 17th, March 10th, April 14th, May 12th, June 9th, July 14th, August 18th, September 15th, October 13th, November 10th, and December the 15th.
Okay,
And they're all on Mondays at 6:30.
Okay,
6:30.
sounds good.
Perfect.
all right. I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we establish our regular meetings for 2025 as presented. We will now have a roll call.
Jan Gaffney,
Yes.
Tim Holcomb,
Yes.
Allison McFadden Keesling.
Yes.
Nancy Moon,
Yes.
Alan Panter,
Yes.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion has passed. Number 5, update regarding sick leave and minimum wage.
Okay, on July 31st, the Michigan Supreme Court issued a ruling in Mothering Justice versus Attorney General that will significantly impact all employers across the state. Michael Bloom, the library's labor attorney, and Claire Membiella, the library law specialist from the Library of Michigan, have provided summaries to help us understand these changes. And I will provide you with an update about those. So the first document that I have in there is from Foster Swift, which is from Michael Bloom, our labor attorney, sort of outlining what these changes are. And the second set of documents are the ones from Claire. And I have read through them, and here's the thing. We worked really hard this last year putting part-time, paid time off for our part-timers in place, 1 hour for every 30 hours worked, and we are in really good shape. When it comes to minimum wage, for the coming year, we are already at above minimum wage, so we will need to make changes going forward. The only thing I need to do is remind Michael to take a look at our part-time and full-time sick leave and make sure everything is okay based on the way the law is written. But because we told Michael as we were writing that we wanted it to reflect what we thought might come to pass, and it now has, we are pretty much done.
Good for us.
So,
Right.
Well, they'll pat us on the back.
yes. The only thing that we, as I said, have left to do is I'll have Michael take a look at that, and if there are any tweaks that need to be made, we will bring that, but we have until February of 2025 to do this. It has already been implemented, everything is running smoothly, Nicole has got it set up so that our paycheck system is automatically calculating that for us, so we are in really, really good shape. So thank you all for your hard work in getting that done a little bit in advance, because it's already budgeted and taken care of and everything.
And thank you, Nicole, for getting it set up to actually
Thank
work.
you.
It took a month and a half. It always takes much time.
I know, but then we're ahead of the game, and for other
Yeah.
people now need that month and a half or longer.
We're longer
Yeah.
than their own
And,
policy.
and February is coming, so
Yep.
we're in great shape. Good job.
There is a webinar coming up that Michael and Claire are running, and I will sit in on it and listen and make sure. The one thing that it was a tiny concern for me was that maximum amount, and the maximum amount that we allow for both our part-timers and our full-timers is more than what the law requires. And you can do more, but you can't do less.
Right.
So, but I will listen in on that webinar just to be sure that we haven't missed any teeny tiny minutia. But when I went, from looking through this, I think we're in good shape.
No, it looked, when I read through it, I thought the same thing. I thought, well, yeah, check, we did that, yeah, well, okay,
Yeah,
we're good here.
that's what I thought too.
Yep.
Isn't it nice to be proactive?
Yes, it is.
Okay, any questions or comments on that? If not, I'll accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion, nay. Motion is carried. We'll adjourn at 7:12. Thank you all very much.